Hey everybody, it's Kyla at the MJC again, and I'm here today to walk you guys through the caption section of the divorce petition with minor children. But before I get started, as always, just a reminder that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to analyze your specific situation. I can't tell you whether a divorce is the right step for you, whether you should file for divorce or legal separation, what you should ask for in your divorce, or what a court is likely to grant in your divorce, and whether the timing of the divorce is in your best interests. So, if you have questions about any of those sorts of things, I would certainly recommend some legal advice. You can get brief legal advice for free through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics here in Milwaukee County. If you're not located in Milwaukee County, I would recommend that you contact your clerk of court to find out what resources are available for people who are representing themselves in your county. All right, so we're going to hop into this caption, and caption is just the fancy lawyer language for this top section, this very top section of the page. And we'll go to the first blank here, and in this first blank, you are going to enter the name of the county where you are planning to file the case. For most people, that's going to be the county where they live. For some people, for some reason, it might be the county where the other person lives, but most of the time, this will be the county where you live. So I'm going to go ahead and put Milwaukee in that blank because Milwaukee is where the Justice Center is located, and it's where a lot of our information for this is coming from. So for the first, we call them address blocks here. So the first section where we're going to put a name, this is the petitioner. The petitioner is the person asking for a divorce, the person filling this form out. Because this form is used in separate cases, what we call separate cases here at the Justice Center, it means that you and your spouse aren't both signing the paperwork, you aren't both requesting a divorce or a legal separation, just you are. So here under petitioner, you are going to put your name. And so our sample person is John Smith. And some of you may remember him from my last video, so we're going to put his name in there, and we're going to put John's address here. And make sure, obviously the address should match whatever you put on your summons as well, so it should be the same address across the board. And so you'll put that all there. Down here, you'll want to put the address for the respondent. And I guess before I hop to the respondent, here you want to make sure that this should be your address, but ideally you want to put a good place for you to receive mail. So occasionally we get people that say, well, I receive mail at this address, but I'm not always there. It's up to you, and you obviously want to reflect best the place where you're currently living, if possible. But you also want to make sure that this is somewhere where if the court were to mail something to that address, you'd be likely to get it. Down here, respondent. So the respondent is the other person, your spouse. So you're going to put their name here. And John's soon-to-be ex is Jane Doe. So we've got that entered. And then you're going to put that person's address. And so hopefully you have the address. If you do, you'll enter it in here. But I find that a lot of people we work with at the Justice Center will say, well, I haven't seen my ex in a long time. I don't know their address. Can't I just leave this section blank? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. You do need to put an address in. If you don't know where your soon-to-be ex, your spouse, lives, then what we would say is put in the last known address you have for them. So the last place that you knew they lived where you could have sent them mail. Even if that address was with you, even if you're pretty sure they don't live there anymore. If you're using a last known address, you may have more issues with service, so I would definitely recommend checking out some of the resources that we have available about serving the other person. But for the purposes of filling out this form, again, last known address, the last place that you could send the mail. So in this situation, John knows Jane's address, or the last place that she lived was here. Justice Center Drive. And that's here in Milwaukee. And you've got this second address line here. That's if you need to include like an apartment number, could go there. Or if you have something where there's a title that would go here, so if Jane were incarcerated, it might be that we would put on this first line Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility, and then on this next line here, the address of the secure detention facility. And then last but not least, you're going to go over here on the right-hand side and you're going to select either a divorce or a legal separation. So there are actually more nuanced differences than this, but the basic difference is at the end of a divorce, you are no longer together with your spouse. You are no longer married. All of your stuff has been split up. At the end of a legal separation, you are still married to your spouse. Your financial property has been divided, but you are still married. In a divorce, you're often saying that your marriage is irretrievably broken, so it's never going to be fixed, versus a legal separation is saying that your marriage is broken, but not to the degree where you want to get divorced. And there are a lot of reasons why somebody might get a divorce versus a legal separation, or a legal separation versus a divorce. So if you have questions about which of those you should pick, or which makes the most sense in your situation, that would be a great question for legal advice. But here what we see most commonly is divorce, so I'm going to check that for John and Jane. You see this little amended bit up here. You only have to do that if you already filed a petition, but you realize there were mistakes on it, or you've changed your mind, and so you're wanting to change something. So most people watching this video can just ignore the little amended box. And then there's the case number box here. And so because this starts a brand new case, you do not put anything in the case number box. You're just going to leave that blank. And the court will assign you a case once you file, or a case number, once you file the documents with them. All right, well, that is all for this caption section. I will be back in a little bit with a video where we will go through more of the substance of the form. But that's all for this one. So thank you all for watching. I hope that it was helpful. If you have more questions about divorce or about resources available to help you through this process, you can always come visit us at our courthouse location. We're located in room G9 of the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you all go out and represent yourselves well.